it's Maribel Blue, and this is Mentoring for Real Life. I am so excited to have this new channel to focus on what we call manifestation, law of attraction, business goals, relationship goals, everything from a realistic point of view. How can we achieve those goals and be able to be successful and feel successful, which is most importantly, because we can be successful, but if you don't feel that way, what is the whole purpose for? I wanted to talk a little bit about different things. I wanted to talk a little bit about manifestation. What does that mean? How can we actually put our fears aside and be able to focus in on what we wish to accomplish? So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification so that you will get notified when I put up a new video. And if you are already here, welcome back. This is the second video that I am shooting. I just finished doing the Bachelorette, and of course, that's a whole other sarcastic point of view, but I will probably incorporate ideas or examples of their relationships into these videos. I remember when I started hearing the word manifestation years ago, I want to say like in early 2000, when people were talking about like the law of attraction books. It's probably like, I don't know, early 2000. Needless to say, when people started talking about it, they were speaking in ways that, oh, this is something new, it's innovative. And I felt like this is kind of like old news. I put it like this: in the world of doing spell work, and some people may call it witchcraft, whatever it is that you want to refer to it as. I never thought of it as anything bad when you light up a candle and have intentions behind whatever it is that you wish to achieve. If you wanted some more peace and calm and just have better energy in your home, there was nothing wrong with that. So when people were coming out, oh, the law of attraction, and I'm going to download this blank check and write down the amount, and it's just going to come out of nowhere. No, it doesn't work that way. And believe me when I tell you, I did the same thing and that never happened. I got caught up in it too, not realizing why aren't these things happening and questioning why they weren't happening. Why am I not finding the right person? Why am I not finding the right job? Why am I not finding the funds to secure my business and build all of these things? Because I really wasn't doing the homework. That's why. There was an article that I wrote a couple of months ago in regards to manifesting through the eyes of Kanye West. Kanye West didn't become famous because his name was Kanye West. He became famous because he put in the work of what he wished to accomplish. Now, a lot of people will turn around and say, well, it was God. God's opened up the door for him, and, give praise to that. Don't believe in that. I believe when you put out the energy and you put in the work, it will come to what it is that you're looking for. Those doors will open up for you. Now, if you look at it like that way, there's nothing wrong with it. What I find wrong with it is when you start pushing your agenda on other people and saying this is the only way. It is not the only way. People manifest their desires using many different sources, whether it's through tarot, whether it's through reading the daily oracle or love answers. I have all of these books, I have tarot cards. So when we utilize these tools, when we meditate, maybe put on YouTube and listen to singing bowls and just kind of be quiet with yourself. These are the moments where you allow your mind to expand. Let those desires in. so that everything becomes clear for you. And then how do we go about attaining these things, achieving these goals, being successful, all of these things that can happen? It just doesn't happen by sheer luck. Maybe once upon a time, somebody was at the right place at the right time and they had the right look and whatever. Yes, those things can happen, but it doesn't happen for everybody. For a lot of people, it's a lot of work to get where it is where they're going. I will say this: I work at a place where many of the people are contractors in some form or another. Some people are doing physical work. And one gentleman that I met, he was talking about how he was in one industry and then went to this particular industry because he wanted to spend more time with his family. And he did all of the work. It took, still, you still see him working, you still see him busting ass. He is doing it so that he could spend time with his family. It didn't just happen where he said, you know what, I'm tired of being in this career. I'm just going to switch over to this career and see what happens. There was a transition happening while he was getting to the other side. It didn't just, he didn't just turn around and say, well, you know, I'm tired of doing this, so I'm just going to do this. And then it failed because he didn't transition correctly. And that is the one thing that I think happens with people when they get lost, because it's happened to me. I'm speaking from experience where I'm like, you know what, I really don't want to do this anymore. Now I want to do this. And then not really have the information to switch over to that. I've had many people tell me, "Oh, well, you know, why don't you just get into real estate? It's a real money maker." And I've thought about it, but then I was like, well, that's not really what I want to do. I mean, it's, yeah, I love looking at houses. And I think my friend and I, we would just peruse through online, or like, yeah, let's go and to an open house and kind of check out what's going on. But when you're talking about it, doing it as a career, that's an entirely different realm, because now you have to say to yourself, it's one thing to watch it on television, it's one thing to do it at your leisure, yet another when you decide to take it on as a career. Now, if there's a person who wants to do it as a career, then you should follow through and take the appropriate steps if you want to become a real estate agent. However, not everybody wants to be a real estate agent. There were many desires, and there still are. There are many desires that I have that I wish to accomplish. I will tell you this: there was something that I wanted to do years ago, and I talked about it a lot. I wrote a lot of ideas behind it, and I did as much research as I could. And I just kept meeting with walls. At least that's what I believe. The fact of the matter was, there was a fear inside of me to follow through on these dreams. I had too many questions and not enough answers. And then I was just making up questions that had no answers. And it really freaked me out. And of course, there were many of times that I sat back and said, well, if you did that, maybe it would have been successful because it would have been yours and you would have cared about it enough. And if you failed, you would still learn something behind that, and how you can take those mistakes for your next project to make it better. I have seen many of people also take my ideas, run with it, and fail miserably. Why? Because it was just the idea of gaining popularity. Well, if they are doing that, I want to do that. And I think that I could do it better. One of the things that I said in the beginning of my first video was that you'll hear me talk about the Band of Red Squirrels. And this is from a storybook that I read when I was a child. Somehow I was able to find this book, and I have it put away on my bookshelf. It is a story about lessons. It is a story about consistency. It is a story about community, peace of mind. There are so many different facets in this story. And as a child, when you're reading it, your mind capabilities are so limited as to how anyone would view the story as a child. But when you read it as an adult, you're like, oh shit, okay, I get it. I see the Band of Red Squirrels. I know what they're doing. You don't want to be the Band of Red Squirrels, because what happens is that those band of red squirrels are just in their own world, not paying any attention to anything around them. When you're trapped in your own little world and you don't see anything else beyond you, we see it on TikTok every day. They call them Karens, where they're just on a rampage screaming and entitlement, and I'm this and I'm, well, what are you doing here? Do you live here? Asking all of these questions that are basically none of their business. And when it ends with the cops handcuffing them to jail, oh, but what did I do? You're hurting me or screaming me, and I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, you did. You didn't know how to mind your own business. You were in the Band of Red Squirrels. You were in that world. You were busy fighting. You didn't see anything else around you. And now look at where you are. And this is what happens with people. They get trapped in, look at me. Look at what I'm doing. Look at me. Nobody wants to look at you. You want to be able to look at you. You want to be able to look into that mirror and be happy with what it is that you're seeing, your reflection. You feel overweight? You can do something about it, little by little. If you have a treadmill, get on a treadmill. That's what I've been doing. Maybe do some stretches, do yoga. Granted, the weight is not going to come off overnight. It really is a matter of commitment and staying with it, even in the times that you don't believe that it can't be done. It will be done because you're putting the work into it. It's a matter of putting your fears and uncertainties aside. You're going to feel those feelings. I feel them. There are many a times that I'm sitting here, I'm blogging, I'm writing, and not everybody is responding, and I'm not getting the engagement that I want, but it will happen. It eventually happens. And not because I want to attain popularity, but I want people to be engaged in a conversation. Food for thought. What did you think about this? What did you think about that? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? You keep at it, it will happen. Things just don't magically fall out of the sky. Like my example with Kanye West. He was walking into studios. I got to rap. You got to listen to this. Putting the tape in. Here you go. He didn't waste any time. You're going to listen to it whether you like it or not. Even when people are like, I got to take this phone call. I'm busy. He still went for it until the day came that they took him seriously. When I think about certain aspects of my life, people that come to me and talk to me about relationships and trying to control the outcome of relationships, we all want to do that. We all want a happy ending. We all want to be a bride, a groom, whatever. Want to find that perfect mate, the person that we want to spend the rest of our lives with. I feel like I found that person. I don't know if they see that in me, but I see it in them. And if they don't see it in themselves, I can't control their outcome, how they feel about themselves. I can't take a piece of me and put it into them and tell them, you're the most beautiful human being that I ever fell in love with. And my cats are fighting in the background if you hear them. Sometimes they don't think of each other like that. But in the interest of the relationship aspect, when a person doesn't feel a certain way about themselves and you're looking at them and you're telling them, you're beautiful, you're perfect, you're everything that I'm looking for, and they don't feel it about themselves, you can't force it on them. You can't force that outcome. You have to let them live their path and let them make their discovery on their own. This is what they talk about when I used to make meetings. The joy is in the journey, making that self discovery about you and everything that you can do, everything that you wish for. Here's another example I want to use. And this is like completely off topic about the whole thing of what I was just talking about before, but it kind of melded in together. I was watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Diana Jenkins, who I dislike tremendously, was talking about the death of her brother. Sutton brings up the fact that her father had killed himself. And in her mind, she's saying, oh, well, here she goes. She's making it about herself and not even taking my feelings under consideration. No, it's not really about Sutton making it about herself, but more of, I can understand how you feel. I lost a family member. I can relate. It's painful. These incidences or these situations, that family member was taken from outside forces. Her brother was taken, he was killed, and Sutton's father, he took his own life. That outside force, whatever her father was going through, put him at a point where he felt like he couldn't live anymore and he killed himself. Hey everyone, I just wanted to intervene here as I was listening to the playback of this video. I wanted to make a very important note here that mental health struggles are very real. And if you find yourself in a dark place, there's always ways to get help. I posted the number on the screen, and you can always reach out to your local licensed mental health professional. Now, let's talk about like a different example. Let's say I'm watching the news with a family member and we see something horrible happen to somebody else. Let's say it's a car accident. Oh, there was an accident at so and so street. And then right away they incorporate this fictitious scenario of, oh, we drive on that street all the time. Something like that can happen. What is the probability that something like that will happen? This is where we talk about, I think it was mentioned in school, like probability. It's just, what is the percentage of that happening as opposed to you getting food poisoning? It's like the probability is low. I had like food poisoning one time in my life, and that was enough. Actually, I think no, it was one time I had food poisoning. The other one was a stomach virus that I got from somebody at work, and I was really mad about that. When we start incorporating unrealistic things into our lives, the more we channel those unrealistic things, at some point it's going to happen. And then you're going to sit back and say, well, you see, I said it was going to happen. Yeah, because you kept channeling that shit. That's why you kept talking about it over and over and over again. I'll give you another example. This is more on a personal thing. A couple of days ago, it was raining out here a lot. And a lot of the properties out here, we have rocks. We don't really have grass. Some people have grass, but it's more like, rocks and all of that shit in the front of the house. My father was, I guess, raking the debris, and a lot of it doesn't have like a lot of rocks on one side of the house, which is fine because it never really had a lot of rocks in the first place. And then he starts complaining about the HOA. Oh, well, now they're going to write us a letter and they're going to want more rocks. And like he just took himself out there. He went from like here, and then it just escalated into a whole unrealistic thing. And I looked at him and I said, like, why? Like, why would they write a letter about missing rocks? It doesn't make any sense. And then he's like, well, so and so, a neighbor, had gotten a letter. And I was like, right, because he needed to trim down the tree, which are two unrelated things. But in his head, he's already there. He's already channeling that energy. And this is the shit that I'm talking about. It's kind of like when I talked about the comfortability of self. When you're comfortable being angry all day long and not being happy, Well, let me look at the news because I know it's going to upset me. Let me look at this ad commercial because I know it's going to upset me. Let me go out and see this person that I don't like because I know it's going to upset me. When do you get tired of that? What does it accomplish? Again, it goes back to the Band of Red Squirrels. What is it accomplishing? Absolutely nothing. You're channeling all of this negative energy, and then you're saying, well, you see what I'm saying? You see it was going to happen? Yes, because you put yourself there. That's why. And I think this is where people have trouble distinguishing the difference, because then they'll look at somebody and say, well, it's just sheer luck. It's not sheer luck. People work very hard to get where it is that they're going. Like I discussed before with this man, he transitioned from one career to another. But while he was in that other career, he was working, he was taking the steps that he needed to get to this place. And it's the same thing with everything else in life. So ask yourself, what are you afraid of? How do you want to work through that fear so that you can feel more confident in what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to achieve? How do you envision yourself through all of that? These are the questions that you may be able to answer. You may not be able to answer them now. Maybe able to answer them next week. Maybe these are questions that you need to write down. Last year, I got this book. It's called The Story of My Life. If a story is in you, it has to come out, from William Faulkner. I guess that's a quote. Okay. So this is the book. And basically, it's questions in here. And I just flipped the page, something to think about. And this is the one question I'm going to read to you. And maybe this is a project that you can take on for yourself. I have yet you can't see it because of the light, but I have yet to write anything in this section. And the question is, describe your physical appearance as a teenager. How aware were you of how you looked, and how did you feel about your body? Now, there was a reason why I probably didn't answer this, or maybe I just don't remember it. But here is something for you to think about. Also, another question to ask yourself, is that still affecting you in this day and age? And how do we overcome it? I have a lot of body issues. I'm not even going to lie about that. Nobody can force you to do anything that you don't want to do. And you shouldn't have to. We live in a day and age where people try to push their own agenda, and it's not in a healthy way. It's a form of control. And that's not a good thing. When I first got clean, I felt like I was trying to be controlled by other people, by my surroundings, and people telling me, well, you have to do it this, you have to do this, you have to do that. And in the beginning, I really didn't appreciate it. I really fought everything. And I was saying to myself, this is only going to last for a year. Like, I'm not going to do this forever and ever and ever. But every day that went by was a day that I started to feel better about myself. And the more I felt better about myself, the more I felt better about accomplishing my goals and what it was that I want to do. So before I end this video, think about these questions and think about things in your life and things that may have happened in the past. And are you taking those experiences with you in the present, preventing you from manifesting in your goals? Let's look at the daily oracle. Basically, it is a book of different sayings. I'm going to just kind of pass my hand here on the pages and kind of just pick something where I feel an energy and see what message will come up. So if you're watching this video, just take a moment, close your eyes, relax, breathe, think about what you wish to accomplish today. And let's see what the Daily Oracle has to answer for us. Oh, I wish you could see this. Let's see if I could. If you want the truth, simply strip away every illusion. And that ties in perfectly with that project. that I just assigned to all of you. Isn't that something? I truly, truly, truly believe that the universe has a way of speaking, either through books, through people, whatever that may be. So begin in saying to yourself, whatever it is that you believe, throw that out. And I'm talking about the negative stuff. Throw it out. It doesn't work. It's not going to help you in the now. Throw it away, forget about it, acknowledge it, and then get rid of it because something better is coming along your way. We are going to end this video. I want you to go to my website, maribelblue.com, sign up for the mailing list because I'm going to start putting some newsletters together, doing some more work. I just signed up for some courses that I'm going to be taking so that I could be a better mentor for you. And I'm so happy that you took this time out to watch this video. Let's get through this journey together because life is funny and sometimes we just need to in order for us just to carry on the next couple of hours. So with all that being said, and I will end this video the same way I end my Maribel Blue unfiltered videos. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.